Welcome to Hunting Nostalgia. Today is the most excited I have been about an episode since I started the show, and that is because it is about my favorite department store of all time. It's no longer around, sadly. Hills Department Store. Since 1957 to 1999, Hills was around, and when you would go there, you would walk in, you would go into the sliding doors, and you would smell the popcorn, you would smell the cherry ices, and you would see what kind of specialty cup they had there. You know, you could pay a little extra and get a really cool cup, you know, with a big graphic on the side of it. Oh my gosh, it was the greatest store of all time. And it had the most massive toy department. It was like 6 aisles, and then it would also wrap around the back of the store. Starting with the bikes, it was just a monstrous toy department. I mean, it was where the toys were. It was amazing. And I have collected Hills items ever since I realized I was a collector, because I haven't always realized that I was a collector. Just one day I said, holy moly, I've collected a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of that stuff had a Hills price tag on it. This Hills bag here, I found in my grandparents' basement, and I absolutely love it. And I took it upstairs, and my grandma said, that's trash. And I said, not to me. But what I would go to Hills for was this. And I lived right across the street from Hills in Cranberry, Pennsylvania, and I would walk in with my mom. As long as I would behave myself, I'd walk in with my mom, and I would get one of these bad boys. They were like $4. The LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars. This was the greatest toy line ever made. In my opinion, this was the greatest. Some people call these dog toys because they don't move. I understand that, I really do. But to me, there is nothing better than these. My love of Hills is very well known. My friends have gotten me items from Hills, and my wife has gotten me items. This here, Hills snack bar, my wife got this for me. It really does smell like the snack bar. You walk in, boom, ices and popcorn. It's awesome. My friend Rob gave me this water thermos here from Hills Department Store, just because he knew I loved it. You know, it's nothing special, but to me it is. And now I remember my buddy Rob gave me this at the Toy-Hio Toy Show. When I would walk in, you would see a big, massive stack, and you never knew what it was gonna be. The stack were decorative, collectible cups, and they had all kinds of different things, whether it be the Olympics and there'd be Dream Team cups there, or whether it be the Stanley Cup and there'd be Penguins or whoever it would be in the Stanley Cup. But what I would love whenever there would be wrestling cups, like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat here, and for an extra 25 cents, you would be able to get a souvenir cup, and I did every time. King Kong Bundy was another one of these cups from Hills. How can you forget the wonderful, recently passed away, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The Knothole Gang. This was a book, a card book for Pittsburgh Pirates trading cards. And just because my brother would write his name on the back of something did not make it his. It was clearly mine. And so I was on Facebook, and I was looking at this Hills appreciation group, and there was this amazing couple on there, and they saw some pictures that I posted of tags, Hills tags, on all kinds of different toys. And she messaged me, the wife, it was Jim and Kim, were the owners of the collection that I purchased, and she said, hey, I have a bunch of Hills tags. They just so happen to be on old wrestlers, on old wrestling toys. They worked at Hills. They met at Hills. Their love was formed at the greatest department store of all time. And I just thought that was so cool. I thought that was so neat. I want to show you up close, because I was in a frenzy. You're going to see. I'm in a frenzy. I'm literally crawling around on the floor like a fool. But I got to show you a few of the items that I purchased there up close, because they're absolutely amazing. And this couple, I told them, I said, listen, you have some items here that are really valuable, super valuable. And I told them honestly what they were worth. I said, not thousands, but hundreds. There are items here that are worth hundreds. And they told me, and this is what I will keep with me about this day, was they told me that they wouldn't sell this collection to anybody else. And that meant the world to me. This Atom Bomb here, Hasbro Atom Bomb, not my favorite toy line, but still very, very cool. It's worth nothing now. I mean, as you can see here, in probably 1992, or no, probably 93, it was $2.99. But now it's worth nothing because it's mine forever and it's never leaving the Hunting Nostalgia studio. More items directly up my alley. Like, this could not have been more perfect than what it was. It's the most I can't. But the LJN Wrestling Superstars cage in the box with Hills sticker on as well. And then the British Bulldogs tag team 2-pack in the box. Boom, Hills tag. This is going to be an amazing episode. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do, but let's get on the hunt. Let's go see Jim and Kim and let's take a look at just the most amazing wrestling collection that I've ever seen and maybe you've ever seen as well. Let's take a look. What do you say?
Remember all the fun and joy of your favorite game or childhood toy. If only you could feel that way again. Well, you don't have to go back in time, 'cause Nick and friends can help you find long lost treasures you once loved. Let's go hunting nostalgia.
Hey everybody, it's me, Ernest P. Worrell, the real host of Hunting Nostalgia. And today I'm in Finleyville, Pennsylvania, here to buy the biggest mass of wrestling figures you've ever seen in your entire life. It's gonna be an amazing day. Ernest, what are you doing? Uh-oh, I've been caught! Don't forget to watch my amazingly hilarious movies! He's right. I mean, Ernest is right about a couple things. I am here in Finleyville, Pennsylvania today to buy the most amazing wrestling collection I have ever seen in my entire life. I've purchased a lot of collections. There is none that compares to what I am here to do today. And the special connection, the way that I came across this, is the most special part of it all. It came between a shared love of a department store in Pennsylvania that is since closed. Hills Department Store, my favorite store in the history of the world. I loved it. I used to go to that store with my mom and she would tell me, Nick, if you behave yourself, I'll let you pick out a wrestler. And I will tell you what, there has never been a more behaved this guy than you would ever see during those moments. And I always remember that. I always go back to that time with my mom that I was trying to be as good as I could be to get that wrestling toy. The couple that I'm coming to see here today, Jim and Kim, they have been collecting this stuff for over 30 years, and they actually met working at Hills Department Store together. How cool is that? I cannot wait. You will not believe what's in here. I am not joking. You will absolutely not believe. I cannot contain myself with what I'm about to show you. But first, before we do that, I want you to take a moment of nostalgia with Elvira Taylor. Take it away.
Thanks, Nick. And I'm Elvira from the Doll Circle, and this is my moment of nostalgia. And I feel like this moment of, every week I keep saying, I'm like, wow, my moment of nostalgias are turning into histories of nostalgia type of stuff. So this week we wanted to talk about old toy stores. Toy stores of the past, toy stores that have closed down, toy stores that I remember going to that are no longer in existence. No. And it just pains me because realistically, when you walk around now looking for let's say new toys, you really don't have that many options. I mean, I go to Target, Walmart, and then, if you want to find used stuff, you go to thrift stores. Now, I'm lucky in my area. My friend Dave runs Davey's Toy Shop in Longwood, Florida. So if you're in Longwood, definitely go check him out. But besides that, there really isn't too much in the way of traditional toy shops, I remember going to stores of course, the one that we've lost most recently was Toys R Us. I mean, Toys R Us literally was a store full of toys. And now look what we have. It's like I said, we have just aisles in another department store that has a bunch of other mixed items. Makes me sad. But we can't forget to mention stores like KB Toys. Oh my gosh, they've been out for a while now, but I remember going through those toy shelves and finding Sailor Moon toys in the 90s and a lot of really good Barbies back in the day. And it just makes me so sad that they're no longer there. here. You know, it's like this idea of like having a store that only sold toys to me was kind of almost normal and natural. So it's interesting now that we don't really have that, at least in a major department store chain. For example, like Toys R Us, KB Toys, they were a chain. They were almost in every single mall or near a mall in almost all of the United States and in, you know, Canada, Europe, and etc. So it's kind of interesting that now it's like we don't have that anymore, and I wonder why it's gone. And other stores that used to have like good toy sections were like Service Merchandise. Yes, do we remember that store? Montgomery Ward, or as my dad used to call it, Monkey Ward. He always used to call that there. I remember buying a bicycle there. That's my memory of Montgomery Ward, was buying a purple and green bicycle. And it's just one of those things where it's like these stores used to have such big toy sections and exclusivity to a lot of toys as well. Especially coming from like the Barbie collecting world. Like there were dolls, like for example, that had, you know, Service Merchandise exclusive names on the boxes. Like these stores wanted exclusive toys so that you would go into those stores. Same thing with like Hills. There were so many Barbies that were exclusive to the Hills stores as well. So it's kind of a little sad that we don't have that anymore, where, you know, kids would be like, I want to go to the toy store. Now it's more like, let's go to Walmart or Target. And that kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same vibe and feeling to me. So it makes me a little bit sad that going into the future generations of children, we won't have those stores where it's exclusive to just toys, except for shops that sell like retro toys or comic book shops and things like that, which I'm great and I'm grateful that we have them, but it's not the same as having like a major chain where you can go, hey, I want that new doll. We've got to go to the toy store. Now, as I'm showing you some of my favorite Barbies from different toy stores of the past, I wanted to give you some cool and interesting information about some of my favorite past toy stores. I didn't realize that KB Toys started as a wholesale candy store, which is really interesting, in 1922 called Kaufman Brothers. Interesting. And then from there they opened a wholesale toy store in 1946 and then ended its candy wholesale for about 2 years later, and then the company opened a wholesale toy store instead in 1946. So wow, I mean, that is so crazy that they were around for so long. But unfortunately times were changing, and in the early 2000s they saw a decline in their business, and in 2004 and 2008 filed for bankruptcy, and then unfortunately February 9th of 2009 they closed their doors. No. I know, I actually remember like going and just like buying so many dolls, and it's just so sad. Now occasionally I do see like pop-up stores in like some malls that'll have like a KB vibe to it, but it's still not the same KB Toys. Now Toys R Us has a little bit of a different history. Toys R Us was founded by Charles Lazarus in 1948, but the Toys R Us didn't really make its name until 1957. And if we follow my toy channel, you know that I definitely went to Toys R Us so much to film over the years. But in 2018, they decided to close all their doors. And it made me so sad because I actually knew a lot of people that worked at these locations of Toys R Us, because I would go to find all the new Monster High dolls back in the day and Barbies and all the other new products. So it was really a sad, very close to me type of loss for a toy store, because I used to go there a lot. Like when I say a lot, I mean like a lot. Whether it was to film a toy hunt video for new product or just to go and hang out around dolls. I really do miss that connection of, you know, being in a shop and knowing that I can find a new hot toy on the shelves in a toy store. And I still have those moments, of course, but it's not the same, and I will forever miss those stores. Now, when I was younger, like I said, I've been to places like Service Merchandise, Montgomery Ward, that also had really good toy sections, but those have all went out of business as well. And you know what? We'll see what the future holds. I'm hoping there'll be a resurgence again for the idea and concept of a new toy store out. I mean, I feel like with the internet, it has slowed and stopped a lot of that down, but we'll see. If people love retro things, things keep coming back. I mean, look at bell bottoms. We never thought that would come back so many times, and it's been around the fashion block a lot. So I hope I didn't make anybody out there too sad and emotional talking about some of my favorite past toy stores. But follow me on Instagram, whether it's at the Doll Circle or at Elvira Taylor, and let me know, like, what was your favorite toy store and what were some of your favorite items that you bought there? Because I certainly remember picking up some of the best things at these toy shops. All right, before I get too sad and too emotional, I'll send you back over to Nick and go on some more journeys. Thanks for watching, you guys. This is my moment of nostalgia. Bye. Back to you, Nick.
All right, I'm here. I've been browsing. I'm at the home of the Hills couple, Kim and Jim, two of my new favorite people. You got to come in and see what is here. I'm not gonna be able to control myself. I can just feel it in this episode. So just get a view of what I have to deal with here and how excited I am to do so. I'll be reading every one of these magazines, but first I want to show you just the different range of items. They'll have, you know, the original WWF magazine, the Honky Tonk Man. They have Wrestling magazine, okay? They have Wrestling USA magazine. They have the Wrestler Annual magazine, okay? So Jim used to get a phone call every week from the guy who would sell these to him, and he would go and he would pick up those 4 new editions every single week. That sounds like somebody else that I know, but it is just so neat that that passion of collecting has started and has gone that long. You know what I mean? This is someone's history. This is someone's life. And I cannot tell you how excited and honored I am for them to allow me to purchase this piece of their lives, you know? But they also know that it's not going anywhere. Sorry, that's not for sale, sorry. So look. 1985, LJN, the steel cage. Everybody remembers that blue steel cage. I remember Hogan sticking his head out with his bandana in his mouth. That's the vision that I think of every single time that I think of this blue cage. And it's in the box, pristine. The great thing about Jim was he wasn't a little kid playing with these and buying them. He was a little bit older, so he was understanding of the appreciation of keeping them in the box and also keeping that Hills Department 23 sticker on it. So the way that this happened was, I'm not a Facebook person. I don't even know how to really use Facebook, but I saw this group, a Hills Department Appreciation group. So I joined the group and I posted pictures of all of my tags. And Kim reached out to me saying, I have a bunch of those tags as well. I used to work at Hills. Her next sentence was, they just so happen to be on wrestling toys. I almost dropped to the floor when she said that, but how amazing is that? You know what I mean? She thought, wow, I have a bunch of those tags, but they just so happen to be on some old wrestling toys, which is my favorite thing in the world. There are some extremely rare ones from a little bit later, the Hasbro line that came out, 1990 to 1994. There was a span there where there was no wrestling toys, and it was just absolutely awful. You wouldn't believe the actual drama that people went through, the people who made these toys, the drama that they had for them. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I got to dig in here and I got to show you a little more. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to the guy who is responsible for all this, you know, and the wife that allowed him to keep it this long, okay? We're going to talk to Jim, and I want to do that right now. Well, here he is. This is Jim, and I want to introduce you to the man who's responsible for holding on to this for so long. Man, you might like wrestling just as much as I do.
Love it. I love it.
At least from that time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Nowadays, it's a little different now. It's a little more showy now than it was back then.
You know how I explain it to people? Because I do all the time. I always say, I love wrestling, but it's just not the same. And you know why? Because before, you could create characters like George Steele, George the Animal Steele. Now, it's like every guy who is in wrestling is just themselves, but they try to act tough and mean.
Yeah.
You know, you're not creating. This is creative. And I am so thankful for you allowing me to purchase this off you. I can't even explain it. But there are 2 items. And this is a little glimpse in the gym that I want to show you because it's so neat. It's so me. It is so something that I would do or say. So I was dealing with Kim, his wife, who is just a pleasure to deal with this whole thing. And she said, you know what? Jim has 2 items that he doesn't want to sell out of that collection. And I thought, what could that be? And she said, the Pittsburgh living legend, Bruno Sammartino, and George the Animal Steele. And why? Why didn't Jim want to let these 2 guys go?
Bruno was my childhood hero, and George Animal Steele, he was my favorite heel.
That's why, because this is Jim's favorite, which I totally understand. And I actually love that. Now, this is part of our story. And doing this, that is so cool to me. And that means more to me than anything. So here you go. Here are these two guys that get to stay here in Finleyville forever with you. And that is just so awesome. Yes, exactly right. Now, I have to ask you one more question.
Sure.
You met your wife at the most wonderful department store in the history of the world, Hills Department Store. You both worked there together.
We did.
How amazing is that? It's so neat. And you know what? You were telling me a story about how Hills would actually pay you back then. And I thought that was really cool. Can you just tell them real quick how they did that?
They paid us in cash every week. little paper receipts.
You know why? You know why?
So we could spend our money.
So they could turn right back around. They could get to the popcorn and the ices and they could about face and go right back in and buy some wrestling toys. Thank you so much, Jim. I'm going to get down and dirty on the floor here now, but thank you and thank Kim so much for this. This will stay with me for the rest of my life. Thank you, Jim.
According to legend, little folk know Hills is where the toys are. Tag will never be the same with Worlds of Wonders laser tag game. Star cap, star vest, star helmet, and more. Worlds of Wonders the name, Hills is the store. Lots of toys every day. Another reason why they say Hills is where the toys are.
At low prices every day.
Well, just like I was in 1985, I'm crawling around on the floor looking at LJN wrestlers from Hills Department Store. I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to begin, but I think a good place to begin would be the actual drama that went into these guys. The drama, the anticipation, the want to what toy company is going to get to make this guy. In 1985, there was no one more recognizable in the world than Hulk Hogan. I mean, you could ask anybody from each side of the globe, and they will know that Hulkamania was running wild, brother, in 1985. And it was amazing. It was the most amazing time to be a wrestling fan. It was absolutely amazing. Each character, you either absolutely loved them with all of your heart, or you hated them more than any. Speaking of hating them more than any, there was no one that I hated more than King Kong Bundy, the master of the 5 count. What a jerk! What a jerk! He was always after the Hulkster. It was just an amazing time to watch and allow yourself. I think now that is a huge problem with wrestling. I think it's a massive problem. You have to actually, just like movies or television or whatever it may be, you have to allow yourself to enjoy the form of entertainment that you are experiencing. Now it seems like people watch just to talk about how bad it is. How is that fun in any way? I don't know. But I'll tell you what is fun is looking through these, and I know primarily what's in here. I know a lot. Kim was nice enough to send me picture after picture, which just made my heart beat faster and faster every single time that I saw a new photo. But he wasn't coming out to help Hogan Monsoon. Roddy Piper was after Adrian Adonis. Jesse the Body Ventura. I could list these all. I mean, I don't have time. Classy Freddie Blassie, the Junkyard Dog. We got the blue shirt referee. We have the absolutely gorgeous, this was my first crush in my entire life, the beautiful First Lady of Wrestling, Miss Elizabeth. I absolutely loved her. But the actual story of who was going to get to make these guys was so dramatic. A lot of people refer to wrestling as a male soap opera. And yes, that is precisely what it is. It is a male soap opera, but the story of who was going to get the license for the Hulkster was just as dramatic. Galoob, the company that actually created the WCW line, which I know that there are some here, like the Stinger, okay? This company is Galoob, and that was the company that actually had a handshake agreement with Vince McMahon to create these guys. But at the time, they weren't going to be these big, massive rubber wrestlers. What they were supposed to be were these, the small ones, the 4.5-inch guys. This is what LJN had in mind. This big rubber unarticulating wrestler was what they would use to promote them. They would go into Toys R Us and they would say, look, this is what we're going to make, but we're going to make them small. And Toys R Us said, whoa, wait a minute. Why? Those huge wrestling figures are so much different than any other toy that we have right now. It's so much different than Masters of the Universe. You know who was emulating them? Remco. Remco had the AWA line, and look, one of the fabulous ones. Doesn't that look a little bit like He-Man to you? It does. The very first Hulk Hogan figure that was made by Remco, and people use it in this line, but it wasn't made for the all-star wrestlers. It wasn't. It was made for Rocky III. And that is the Hogan that was out first and foremost, was that Hogan. Then this guy came along. LJN swooped in at the last second and took the license from Galoob. I mean, that is a pretty serious thing, because then at that moment, you couldn't walk in to Toys R Us and find AWA figures or WCW figures, because WWF at that time, just like they did watching television here in Pittsburgh, they had a stranglehold on the competition. And they told them, listen, Toys R Us, you're not going to sell anybody else's toys other than the WWF. It's very, very dramatic. You can see the whole story on an amazing show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. You have to check it out. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm getting just too much here. I got to sort this out, and I got to take this home, and I got to put it in the Hunting Nostalgia studio for the rest of time. I know that sounds so creepy, but it's true. It's absolutely true. I mean, they knew, the toy company, LJN, they knew that these are paperweights, you know? How are you going to play with that Hogan? What are you going to make him do? I got an idea. Let's create a gigantic, awesome ring that's called the Fling 'em and Sling 'em ring, and they actually wanted you to use the ring to play with these. They wanted you to fling these guys back and forth. That is how, when Toys R Us decided we're going to use these as the actual toys, that's how they made them marketable to be playable toys. It's kind of cool, huh? Well, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to get loaded up here. I cannot wait to see what's here, because there's more treasures deep down inside of here. I can't wait. Let's get out of here. I gotta let Jim and Kim have their kitchen back.
Another new Hills opens soon in Indy. We're the store with the low prices you've heard about. Prices that compete with other stores' sale prices every day. And Hills has some of the biggest selections anywhere. More fashions for the family than any discounter we know, including famous brand names. The excitement begins Monday, February 29th. Come to the sneak preview this weekend at Lafayette Place in Indianapolis.
Check this out.
Well, I gotta rush out of here. I'm being chased by a storm. But look at this. All carded Hasbro wrestlers with Hills tags. Wow, I've had a lot of great days in my life. Marrying my wife, the birth of my 3 children, but I will tell you this, and I will tell you this right now. Today ranks up there pretty high. Oh, what a great time today. I hope you had as just much fun as I had today. Thanks to Kim and Jim for allowing me to purchase a piece of their history. This is Hunting Nostalgia. Keep watching the Armstrong Neighborhood channel. See you next time. One of my first 3 words was Hills. Hills, Kmart, and Burger King. I know that's slightly embarrassing, but those were the 3 places in Cranberry at the time. Oh, well, I gotta load this stuff up before the big storm. Look at this. All carded Hasbros with Hill stickers. This is the greatest day. I've had a lot of great days getting married to my wife, the birth of my 3 children, but I will tell you this, and I will tell you this right now. Today ranks up there pretty high. What a great day. I hope you had a great time on Hunting Nostalgia. Keep watching the Armstrong Neighborhood channel. I'll catch it. I know. All right. Go ahead.